All right, guys. So this new documentary just came out a few days ago, talking about Dan Schneider specifically, but talking about really the sexualization of child stars and stuff that are going on behind the scenes, specifically Nickelodeon is what they're talking about. The documentary just came out about the disgraced director-producer for Nickelodeon, Dan Schneider. He's well known for launching so many successful shows for the channel, as well as turning so many kids into stars. So let's take a look at the trailer. We're just going to look at the first part of the trailer. It is a hefty trailer, so we won't get into the whole thing. I don't need any claims or anything like that. But here's just the first part to kind of pull you in and get some thoughts.
In the early 90s, Nickelodeon was kid everything. And you better hope that your house had cable.
Wasn't there to educate you. We were there to have fun, to get slimed, to be entertained.
And this is when Dan Schneider arrives, Nickelodeon's golden boy. He created these shows that were hugely successful for them.
No one had ever really done sketch comedy starring kids for kids.
He launched the careers of child actors who became major stars.
For 20 years, he shaped children's entertainment and culture.
Thank you for being here.
But that marked one of the darkest chapters.
So yeah, so like I said, it was funny. I was getting ready for the show and getting all my links and videos and everything pulled together. And my wife came in and said, "Have you heard about this documentary that just came out?" And I pulled it up. I said, "You talking about this one?" She said, "Yeah." So we'll definitely be watching it probably this weekend and seeing what it's all about. And I may do a review on it or a recap or something like that. It is a very, very sad thought about the stuff that happens. You hear about Corey Feldman and Corey Haim. Corey Haim, of course, has passed away, but the accusations that were made to like Charlie Sheen for taking advantage of Corey Haim and possibly not the only one, and things that happen to so many child actors in the industry. And it is very, very heartbreaking. Again, as a filmmaker, it's something that I take very, very seriously. I've only had one child actor on my set, and that was my daughter. She did not get out of my sight the whole time that she was on set. And there was two women I specifically made sure stayed close to her the whole time. So if I ever had to take my eyes off and direct a scene while she's behind me, she was right there in the room, not off in some other room somewhere else. She was right there. And again, we're a small little group of folks. I'm not really worried about us at this point, until we get bigger and everything like that. But at the same time, I have to create that habit, at least in me. I can't let her out of my sight. I don't want anything bad to ever happen to her. And very, very fortunate. Again, my buddy John that I work with, every other person, especially the guys that I've talked to that I work with, we don't put up with that stuff. If you touch a kid, that's it for you. So this isn't a claim that anything will happen if somebody does that on our sets. But it very well may. So we take that very, 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 very seriously. And it just, this is one thing that really just, pisses me off. That somebody could hurt a child, something as innocent as a child. So first of all, I hope you don't have any children watching the show, because we're going to get in more depth later about a whole nother topic of stuff happening that's targeting our children that just is over the line. But we'll get into this a little bit. And again, I haven't seen it yet, so I don't have a lot to talk about yet, but we will get into that a little bit more probably next week if I do watch it this weekend. So real quick, this is from Variety here. Again, they're cranking out good stuff, so thanks Variety. But Dan Schneider denies sexualizing child stars on Nickelodeon. Some adults project their adult minds onto kids' shows, which is apparently what he's being accused of, projecting different things on there. I know he's into feet, apparently, is what one of the things that keeps coming out, and all I can think of is Quentin Tarantino. Yeah. But for children, which makes it worse, significantly worse. Not a laughing matter for sure. Update on March 20th, Dan Schneider has released an apology video following the release of the Quiet on Set documentary. Watching over the past 2 nights was very difficult, Schneider said, in part regarding the series, facing my past behaviors, some of which are embarrassing and that I regret. I definitely owe some people a pretty strong apology. All right, so here's the original story. Dan Schneider has responded to allegations about his behavior during his time at Nickelodeon. ID's new docuseries, Quiet on Set, The Dark Side of Kids TV, takes a closer look at some of the series Schneider created, including The Amanda Show, All That, iCarly, Victorious, and Sam and Cat, calling out that some appear to sexualize young child stars like Ariana Grande and Jamie Lynn Spears in specific scenes that have been cut into compilation videos. Schneider, however, denies that he ever intentionally did that. Everything that happened on the shows Dan ran was carefully scrutinized by dozens of involved adults and approved by the network. Keep that part in mind. It was scrutinized by dozens of involved adults and approved by the network. We'll get back to that in a little bit. If there was an actual problem with the scenes that some people now years later are sexualizing, they would be taken down, but they are not. They are aired constantly all over the world today, still enjoyed by both kids and parents. Representative for Schneider told Variety in response. Remember, all stories, dialogues, costumes, makeup were fully approved by network executives on two coasts. A standards and practices group read and ultimately approved every script, and programming executives reviewed and approved all episodes. In addition, every day on every set, there were always parents and caregivers and their friends watching filming and rehearsals. Had there been any scenes or outfits that were inappropriate in any way, they would have been flagged and blocked by this multi-layered scrutiny, the statement continued. Unfortunately, some adults project their adult minds onto kids' shows, drawing false conclusions about them. The two-part docuseries, which airs on Monday at 9 p.m. on ID and streams on Max, features both cast and crew who worked with Schneider through the 90s and early 2000s on Nickelodeon. In addition to claims of sexism, racism, and inappropriate workplace behavior, the special also features crew members alleging they were asked continuously to massage Schneider on set. Dan deeply regrets asking anyone for neck massages, the team says in response. Though they happened in public settings, he knows this was highly inappropriate and would never happen again. Director Emma Schwartz told Variety that they had asked Nickelodeon if they'd like to participate in the doc, but they declined. We sent them a series of questions. That statement was what we got back from them. We certainly reached out to lots of people who had been in and around Nickelodeon, and we tried to learn as much as we could, she said. Though we cannot corroborate or negate allegations of behaviors from productions decades ago, Nickelodeon, as a matter of policy, investigates all formal complaints as part of our commitment to fostering safe and professional workplace environment free from harassment, or other kinds of inappropriate conduct, spokesperson for the network told Variety. Our highest priorities are the well-being and best interest not just of our employees, cast, and crew, but of all children, and we have adopted numerous safeguards over the years to help ensure we are all living up to our high standards and the expectations of our audience. So there's a couple of things I want to get back to. One, like in the trailer says, they weren't trying to educate or anything. They were just trying to have fun and slime people. Man, wasn't that the good old days when you could just watch something that was entertaining for the sake of being entertaining? There was no push for agenda, no messaging, no nothing, right? But now there's so much of that crap put in there that it takes away from the quality and the fun of the shows. And back to the Dan Schneider thing here, again, the line that everything was scrutinized by dozens of involved adults and approved by the network. That's kind of alarming too, because let's say this stuff did get through. Well, you've got what? You've got Dan Schneider, or I'm not saying that he is, but you've got these people that work in the industry that are pedos, right? And they want to take advantage of kids and get the most they can out of them. You got the network that wants to take advantage of kids and make the most money off of them they can. You've got a lot of parents that are out there that want to take advantage of their kids and the money. I mean, look at Jeanette McCurdy's book that she put out. I liked her in Sam and Cat because I used to watch that when I would rock my little girl to sleep when she was a baby. So I remember that show very, very vividly, Ariana Grande and Jeanette McCurdy. And I thought she was hilarious. I thought she was great. And when that book came out and I heard her story, it just devastated me and broke my heart. I think the book was called I'm Glad My Mom's Dead or something like that. But you hear about that a lot, where the parents keep all the money. The kids have no money. The parents force the kids to do stuff they don't want to do. And the parents are just as bad, if not worse, than some of these producers out there that are taking advantage of the kids. And then again, it's very, very heartbreaking that the innocent, the most innocent of us are our children. And they're the ones being taken advantage of. As the trailer goes on to mention, there were multiple pedos that worked around the kids. Again, I cut that part out, but go watch the full video. It'll be linked in the description below. Whether Schneider was one or not, it begs the question of the company you keep. We all know the rumors of Hollywood and what they do to child actors. The fact that the article says everything that happened on the shows Dan ran were carefully scrutinized by dozens of involved adults and approved by the network means nothing to me. At the end of the day, the studios want to make money, pedos want to do nasty things to kids, and if both things can happen at the same time, then all adults involved can be totally fine. The TV and film industry can be a great outlet for artistic expression and has given us so much great works. But we all know that it's also the breeding ground for terrible, terrible things. Are you going to watch the documentary? You know, are you going to go check out? I do suggest checking out the trailer and seeing if something you're interested in. If you watched Nickelodeon back in the late 90s to early 2000s, I think this is really going to hit home with you, because it's going to talk about a lot of the people, characters, shows, and stuff that you grew up watching. I know a lot of the ones mentioned are ones that I did, or some of them rolled into the ones, like I said, that when I was raising my little girl and when she was watching Nickelodeon all the time, things that we ran into. So I'm definitely going to be watching. Are you going to watch it? Leave a comment below if you're planning on watching the documentary. I'd love to see how many people are going to watch it, how many people have watched it, if maybe you've already seen it, and then maybe we can have a discussion in the comments, because I do check my comment section. I do try to interact with everybody, but you know, again, I try to be positive where I can and uplifting, and not every comment is like that. But if we can have a conversation about this, you know, I'm all for it. So if you want to dive into the comments, let's do that. Let's talk about it. And that's going to do it for this segment of Hollyweird.
Hey guys, thanks for checking out this clip from the Morning Mayhem. Remember, this is just a portion of the full show that comes out every Friday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. If you hadn't already, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the full shows or these tasty little nuggets.